Hello everybody and welcome to Let's Play Combat Mission Beyond Overlord. Still on the way to Carentan. We destroyed some bunkers in the last battle. It was pretty cool. At the last turn, the last battle really. The one at the River Douve. And you can see the whole units that were involved. We need to move them up. We also destroyed the bunker on the edge of the forest. It was shooting machine guns. But there are now two concrete bunkers, so it's even more difficult to extract them. They show their location rather evident. I don't know whether that is a really good thing, because I know where they are now. I was not really sure the exact location of where they were, so I sent the artillery spotter spot the wrong area. So it was for naught, that artillery strike near that region. Yeah, so this overhead map, and you see the river that we crossed and two bunkers, one in a higher position overlooking the M13 highway. Yeah, and here, another one that is on the fork of the road that we have to sort of pass if we were to go to Carentan. And there's a high ground that we can use, perhaps to attack that concrete bunker on the highway. But we have to see how things turn out. Yeah, so here are the spotters. I think this spotter 75mm border, replenished with 60 shells or 60 rounds. And these are the units that performed pretty well, crossing the marsh first and then taking the bunker from behind. So I hope that we can do that also this time using the same tactic. And some of the units that we pressed into the firing lane on the German side against the German defense. And this map is pretty huge. Shame that we don't use a lot of it. I wonder if things would have turned different if we tried different tactic. Namely advancing from the left. Because if you advance far enough, then the bridge over River Douve will be captured because of the progress that you make and the character you capture after each battle. I think there is no flag or something like that that you need to capture over the bridge. You just need to get the territory around the bridge. So this is I think new deployment here. Yeah, I put the tanks on one side mostly, 3 tanks. So I'm afraid that the Germans will be entrenched on our side of the river near the shrubs. So I put these guys a bit back. And this being the night, the tank's line of sight is rather short. As you can see, it has range around 2000 meters, effective range, but cut very short. Yeah, these are the areas I suspect the Germans to be entrenched, so I set up the soldiers so that they start out in the cover, so they don't get ambushed right away in open ground, which is going to be pretty bad, although it's night. And I'm going to move these guys, yeah, using the cover toward the river and decide whether to move toward the bridge or go to the other passageway where the river is low enough that we can ford. And here I wonder if the tanks can also use that passage across the river, along with those soldiers that's going to support that. I'm going to use these guys to go left and try to outflank the Germans. They'll start in the cover, in the heavily wooded area, which is where the Germans were entrenched in the last battle. So that's going to impede movement, but provide some protection at least, is my thinking. Although if we meet the Germans head on in the night, even though it is, I mean, I think it's going to cause a whole mess, because the melee attacks really do take a toll on your units really quickly, and bleed men like no other. So these are the reserves, 2 tanks on either side of the highway. And as you can see, this is my plan for the left group. Yeah, use the covers to attain the high ground and start attacking the bunkers. And provide a bit of a cover fire for the main group that's going to use the highway to advance further up. Yeah, until the concrete bunker takes notice and we are under attack. And it's going to be where the tanks come in, or the bazookas. So yeah, let's start this battle. Computer is thinking obviously very hard. It's a huge map, so I guess they have to think whether to place the soldiers around there or there. Yeah, for now we're going to concentrate on our own movement and see if we can assume some advantageous positions. And also for this side, the priority is to cross the dam bridge. Thankfully we knocked the turret out, so... Alright, so here is the movement order for the first turn. As you can see by the yellow lines I have... Yeah, since I know where the bunkers are, I obviously use that information to direct the artillery fire there. And also I'm moving all these different troops, a large amount of units, through the wood, supported by the tanks that is concealed from the left by the bocage, so I'm thinking that I can move safely without being noticed. And here as well, using the cover to advance toward the river, to see if the Germans will be entrenched on either side of the river. If they choose to really bash us in the beginning, then they'll try to entrench on our side. But then if we use the numbers advantage to press against them, then they have really no way to run except for through the bridge, which is going to be impossible really, because we are already set upon crossing it. And the night really makes it difficult for any of these guys to attack even 150 meters ahead of them. And well, I mean, I try to smoke this road in order to conceal our guys trying to approach the bridge, because I do suspect the Germans will be already still defending the area pretty heavily, because we are getting funneled into better exposed positions, so smoking that area is going to give us a bit of concealment. This is the left group trying to negotiate the march in order to go to that fording point. And the tanks keep shooting smoke until I guess they can verify that there is some smoke coming out. Yeah, as you can see, yeah, it is definitely producing some smoke, so the soldier can advance. Yeah, all these guys are advancing on all front. No gunshot so far. That's all good. Yeah, ever closing into the bridge area. Yeah, so that was the first turn. They're quiet, waiting for the artillery to make its mark against the bunkers. Hopefully one of them is going to come under direct fire and get demolished. So second turn is continuing on, pressing forward, creating a bit of bridgehead, provide covering fire for any of the troops following, and yeah, that's basically it. And moving the tanks a bit forward, since I know for sure that concealment of night or the darkness is going to provide a bit of a cover for the tanks as well. Here I realized that the tanks cannot ford over the river, so I realized my mistake. That was my first big mistake. It's going to take out 3 tanks from the main battle as we try to cross the river. So yeah, the tanks cannot ford over a river like that. I thought that they could do it because I was able to cross the marsh, but I guess I was kind of cheating using the open ground texture or something beside the marsh tile in order to cross that in the last few turns of battle number 4. Last battle, so I try to do the same thing, hoping that the lower water level is going to make it feasible for the Shermans to cross, but nope, it's not possible. So my tanks are kind of stranded on the left side. But here they're crossing the bridge. at a pretty good clip. So we are making a pretty good progress on at least, over the river here. A lot of soldiers are crossing, so surprising that Germans have not defended this area. They just, gave up defending here after the turret has been knocked out. So it's good that we were able to do that on the last few seconds of battle number 4. So third turn. Still continuing the progress on the left, but I do find the progress a bit too slow in comparison to the group over the bridge. So I try to see if I can use normal movement command, crossing over open ground beside the forested area, quicken things a bit, in order to see whether I can apply that to the rest of the group so they can move quickly toward the fording over point. And here we are still trying to move to the bank to provide what little covering fire that we can provide for either side, and move toward the bridge if possible, because they have already set up a pretty good, well, he's about to set up a pretty good bridgehead. And the craters, you can see the last battle, the scars of last battle still remain. You're going to see a whole lot more of that this battle. So continuing on, more troops cross the bridge unscathed. The smoke rounds do produce smoke for I think 3 or 4 turns, which is pretty good. And then the second group of Germans are going to the bridge to follow and support the infantry as needs be. The smoke has subsided, so I need to produce more, and I think the tanks are able to do that automatically if you give the order, and then do not give any other order. They just have a look and see if the smoke is still there. If not, they should and create more smoke. I don't know whether this is going to be useful, because there are really no Germans around this area, so I mean, okay, so they jumped off the bridge, but they're safe. They didn't disappear into the ground or anything like that. Just checking under the bridge to see whether there are some Germans or something. Alright, so on the left side too, it's pretty quiet, but the progress is rather slow, so I decide to give them a bit more varied order. As you can see, more green lines mean that they are traversing open ground, making things a bit faster, and then entering the wood in the last bit of a trip in order to provide some covering fire or lead the way for those who are traveling in the forest. And here they're kind of spreading out to see and identify possible enemy, because there are a lot of cover on the river, and who knows where the Germans will be waiting for us. These guys will follow suit to try to cross the bridge and maybe move on to the field. I don't know whether that's going to be enough cover, and to see whether we can find some more Germans around the defensive position of the concrete bunker. So that's where I think that next line of German defenses will be, since we didn't find anybody here near the river. So we're continuing to cross. So this is all about crossing that bridge and heading into the highway. Pretty big highway. Seems like 4-lane highway or something. Pretty big. Open ground, they can travel pretty fast, but I tend to keep to the brushes near the road. Provide at least a bit of cover, just in case when they come under fire, then I don't want them to suffer a direct shot. Here you can see the difference in speed of the soldiers moving either in forest or open ground, and you can see in the horizon that the artillery has finally opened up. and is actually targeting that area, but I don't know whether it's going to really make the difference, because I can only guess as to where the bunker is. The result of the possible strike, whether it was hit or whether it suffered some kind of damage, is unknown to me. Yeah, so next turn I put more troops on the left group, more troops on the movement order rather than sneak order. So sneak through the forest is pretty slow compared to the movement on open ground. I could have just as well give them move order through the forest. That could have been a better idea. So just allowing them to move through the open ground could have been a mistake. And all these lines I have individually set up, which could lead to a bit of a mishap. I should have used groups instead of individual units. They could lose the sight of commanding officer and then be kind of on their own. You want to get the bonuses as much as possible. If there's a commanding officer nearby, you can provide it, such as stealth and command. Pretty helpful in situations such as this, when you can just meet the enemy very close distance. Yeah, so artillery on the left side also opens up, and the last of the Shermans move. Yeah, crushing a soldier in the process. Just clipping, there's no damage done to them. Yeah, on the left side, pretty brisk progress, because I gave them movement order, and here's a pretty good landing of artillery shells. I hope that there'll be some other defensive guys there who are... And yeah, poor house gets blasted to heck. Yeah, so at least I don't know, maybe that was where the German defenses were concentrated, near the turret. Could be possible, so I guess... I don't know, it may have got rid of some problems down the road as we go nearer and nearer toward that unknown location. Well, known location of the concrete bunker, but we don't know for sure whether it was hit or not. But just like what happened to the house is going to be, you know, the fate of that bunker if the artillery shell finds its way. Let's hope for that. So next, yeah, so I basically give up trying to move through the forest, and then because I feel that we are left behind much for coordinated attack on the bunkers. So I give these guys a movement order to travel on open ground before moving or sneaking into the forest and fording over the river. And here, just spreading out, providing more slope down the highway as now the tanks are trying to move. And yeah, everybody is funneling into the bridge. And these guys are keeping the artillery on the same location, suspected location of the bunkers. So haven't met any enemies so far, just we advancing and closing in. Maybe the Germans are suffering from some shortage of men. So we did inflict some heavy damage on them in the last previous two battles, so they didn't get... Oh, there's one. Yeah, there's one German that suddenly appeared, so they were trying to outflank us and met us head on here. As you can see in the cover, and they're identified and being shot at. So let's identify these guys. They are Jägers, pretty impressive group, bunch of veterans that are now running away, but not before shooting both our commanding officer and bazooka, eliminating them. I don't know, like, they were running away, but they were able to just shoot off a few shots that eliminated both of these guys. I think they only had like one person left in their unit, so that's what happened. But still, it's pretty shocking to see two units just get eliminated in succession. And these guys, yeah, do not find any good position to evade, so they get eliminated quickly. So it's pretty lucky that we were able to get rid of these guys, but we lost like 2 units. One bazooka and one commanding officer which kind of stings. So that's what happens if you move the guys on the open ground. With a movement order, they get spotted and there's really no cover. Especially when they're moving and they get caught. And we need to in the left, so I get I get kind of spooked and stopping the progress right away and see if I can assume some kind of defensive position and bringing up some of the units from the rear by embarking on the Shermans themselves, make things quicker. Fanning out further here, and some of them are actually moving along the highway, waiting for the other guys to follow. So still an ongoing process, rather vulnerable process, because we are in transit and not really having any kind of formation and having this kind of sequences where Shermans really do not know where to move. They backed out and then started resuming their trip into the brush. It's pretty hard going. And here once again, gingerly trekking our way through that fording area. And these guys are taking cover, which means that there's some shots that they can hear or see whiz by. Look at that, bazookas on top of Shermans. Yeah, that's a pretty ideal setup. You can just travel along the highway until there's some armor that we need to take care of. Yeah, so another unit identified. So this is where the Germans were thinking to ambush us or outflank us. Fortunately, we are able to meet them, but yeah, these guys are pretty accurate with their shots. Lost another man in the unit. The Shermans are quickly going right. It's where the wheat field is. It's a bit of pseudo open field for the tanks. But I don't know whether I made the right decision because the balance of tanks are rather right side heavy instead of balanced along the highway. Yeah, these guys are pretty tough. Now they're kind of settling in to their visual positions, taking pot shots at us. We are a lot of men though. And still, I don't know exactly what is happening, but targeting these areas estimated to be around the bunker. Hopefully one lucky shot lands on it. Concrete bunkers, so must be stronger than a usual unit like tank, for example. Alright, so we are now in 8th turn. Goes pretty quickly if you think about it, but the last few turns we are faced off with these Germans. I mean, they're only one unit, but they are holding us at bay pretty effectively, so yeah, big problem if more appear, because they are attracted by the battle that is unfolding. On the other hand, it could have the effect of drawing them out of their defensive positions, so that could be pretty good if I find another avenue of attack. Here we advance and we turn toward that bunker and also try to see if we can move on the right side of the hedge. Finally, the tank I think have found their passengers and is ready to move, or is going toward their passengers who wants to get a ride on the tanks. So I'm trying some new things in this battle, like trying to smoke the area first, although because of the night whether it is actually useful is questionable. And also I'm trying to embark some of the soldiers on top of the tanks to move them up pretty quickly before the inevitable German artillery knows where to strike us. And another unit, yeah, is done. The artillery is still striking that position, and the tanks are following slowly the soldiers that have taken a position around the bridge. These guys are, yeah, on the left side. We are following them, trying to provide some support, whether belatedly, but it's support nonetheless. We are happy to take it. So final group of soldiers moving in and ready to move out. Some of the soldiers have taken up already along the highway. Yeah, so these are the final group of Shermans. into the smoke. So I feel lucky that I was able to move all these soldiers unscathed along the across the river. I thought that was going to take a lot more men and turns, but the Germans opted to kind of hang back and invite us to their turrets and their bunkers to inflict the most damage. I think that's a good strategy for them. But I'm targeting them with the artillery, so yeah. So 75mm mortar has found a new spotting area. Kind of suspecting Germans to be trying to meet us as we flounder across the river. I don't know exactly how slow the soldiers will be when trying to move across the river. Like their rifles up, as they don't want the rifles to get wet, so I don't think they'll be able to fight when they're in the water. So if the Germans find them in the water, then they'll be dead in the water. And here it's I try to send I think 1 or 2 units on the right side. I find the rail tracks here that could indicate that there's a way into some area that is going to be flat and approachable, accessible, especially for tanks. So it is another possibility. If we move there and then try to sneak our way into the rails for the next battle, it's going to provide these armors to travel on open ground and coordinate our battle across different areas. And the recon unit is entering the wheat field. So they're leading they're trying to scout ahead, but at night, so we don't really know what to expect. Yeah. So they're just, as you can see, the scout has identified some vehicle traveling along the cover here. Yeah. So finally the inevitable German rocket barrage starts. This is not good because we have all these guys congregated in a tight-knit group, so we need to really think about spreading them as much as possible to evade that rocket barrage. So it's going to be very problematic. As you can see, the next turn I turn toward the left group and try to micromanage it, and this is the vehicle that the scout car has identified. Only by sound so far, but I don't know whether that's a tank or some kind of a light armor. But the scouting party thinks that it's light armor, so I'm hiding all these guys in the front of our group here, trying to ambush it if possible. And it is definitely a possibility because this is a night battle. Yeah, I try to move the bazookas into the forest for that source of sound, and the last bit of passengers on the last Sherman to cross the river on that side. And here I try to move back the Shermans from the rocket barrage, try to try to bring them to safety, and also making all these guys crawl toward the marsh and away from the rockets as much as possible into the cover. And yeah, things really do not look good though, because they find some nice group of soldiers to focus their barrage on. So once again we need to bury it out, and it's going to suffer some heavy casualties. And unlike the last battle, these soldiers are more akin to, as you will see, they're more akin to a panic. I think they've seen enough, and of course, okay, so the vehicle identified was actually a Puma, it's a German recon vehicle. And hidden troop has, definitely shot something in order to disable it. So it was really easy because we were hiding among the trees, and they're not able to identify us, and they're soon eliminated. I think they only had 2 or 3 person unit there that came out of it. And here, you can see the brunt of the rocket barrage damaging us, clouding a lot of different troops. Yeah, they've seen enough. Even under cover, I think it's just creating an effect of a lot of terror and injury. And I think it's for good because they're moving really quickly out of the area, although they're routed and it's not going to be serviceable for the remainder of the battle. At least they're getting out of the harm's way. Some of these guys are not trying to bury through, but then it ends up being that they're gonna lose more men in the unit. I'm particularly worried about some of these commanding units that have only one, like this guy, only one man left in the unit. So it's not really good for us, trying to draw the artillery, wrath of the artillery toward the group here. But the silver lining is that most of the group here on the track along the main highway is safe from that barrage and is free to move. And we found out some of the German defenses here around the bunker. Yeah, they was identified. We didn't really see it. We didn't really see them clearly because of the action on the road involving the Puma. And yeah, there is definitely too many tanks on the right side. I should have moved some of the tanks to the left. And I realized this mistake, another mistake, and I think I sent the last tank over to the left to try to counter the identified German units. And here further going back, retreating, or just moving out of the rocket barrage. Pretty terrible. I mean, it hounded us right from the get-go, from the battle number 1. And I think this is not the first time that these panic units face such barrage. I mean, it's really bad. It's really bad. We're losing a lot of troops because of this. Yeah, they're running. I think the rocket barrage is going to continue for some time. These guys get the benefit of the left group sacrifice and moving up to face these Germans. We're well entrenched, bring some MG-42s. Yeah, another unit routed. They hit enough. And they're running pretty well across the forest. Yeah, this mortar barrage or rocket barrage is, I think it's mortar. I think it's around 75mm mortar, similar to ours. But what's so special about them is they land at a really terrible pace. They really don't let up, and they just amass like 200 or so rounds in 2 or 3 turns. No, I think it's around 120 or something. Definitely more than 100. And they concentrate this in a really tight-knit pattern. So it's really accurate even during the night. As you can see, it doesn't really miss at all. And it's pinned all of our troops on the left. So we cannot really coordinate the attacks. It's only on these guys to now carry the load, capturing any kind of territory, any significant amount of territory here. Because here we are all pinned and damaged and routed, so it's not really an effective fighting force at all. And I guess I made the right decision, I guess, splitting up the troops once again. If I didn't split the troops, then this mortar barrage is going to land right on top of the main group, which is going to cause terrible havoc. So yeah, thankfully these groups are making some progress, especially on the right side of the N13, the highway. Yeah, with a lot of armor, but still rather wary of using the armor to spearhead this, because it's night and any number of Panzerschrecks and Panzerfausts might be aiming at us at a distance of around 100 meters, taking account of the limited visibility. And once again, just crawling out of harm's way, hoping for the best that this is going to be the last turn where the rocket or the mortar is going to land. Yeah, so Scout is doing its job for the first time, which is scouting ahead. And more soldiers are joining the battle to combat these guys on the left. And I think I gave the artillery a new spotting area to target the newly identified German defenders along the left side of the highway. And here, going fighting, and the scouting car going close to the edge of the wheat field. Hopefully be able to identify the concrete bunker without being seen, but that's only hopeful, wishful thinking. Yeah, all crawling, all pinned down the right side, on the left side. But no unit has been eliminated due to the mortar, so they'll be able to regroup, which is a good thing. Yeah, so it seems the German barrage has stopped for now. Let's see if we can advance and continue our previous journey there. It's really hard to cross the river in this way. Yeah, so we are trying to regroup along that fording over area where we can watch over as unit by unit is going to cross over or try to cross over and set up a defensive position on the other side of the river. Tanks are also moving up toward that river. Yeah, so here more units are pressed into fighting. I think there are 3 German units. I don't know exactly whether more German units will be entrenched there. I think there will be more German units, definitely. It's where most of the enemy action has come from so far. I think they only try to advance across the river when there's somebody watching over them, or they have enough reserves in order to protect the line should their advance or should their flanking maneuver fail. So I expect more Germans to be on this side of the river, just across the fording over area. Yeah, but here from the edge of the river I don't see anybody. So these guys bring up the rear. Some soldiers are moving up past the point where I found the German line of defense. Don't find anybody on the right side of the highway, so we should better start moving there as well. And the 75mm mortar has been it's activated against the German line of defense on the left side of the highway. And here we are regrouping and trying to advance toward the river, especially the tanks trying to support the infantry trying to cross the river. Yeah, and then the 75mm artillery, as I mentioned, they're starting to land. All the big artillery have spent their entire shells, so it is unfortunate that the concrete bunker has not been destroyed, or even from the outset it doesn't seem like it has been hit once. It's unfortunate. Still very much alive, and it's actually an MG nest. Well, I guess at least it's not a 75mm gun that is encased in that concrete. Yeah, this turn I try to actually cross the river. That is what I wanted to do like 5 turns ago, but better late than never. And here I bring some bazookas and soldiers from the right side to support bunker Boston and to drive the Germans away from the area so we can get to the bunker in timely fashion. Yeah, so we also wonder about that other concrete bunker, so I'm trying to edge that scouting unit or scouting car forward. But it's kind of I don't know exactly what's going to happen, because definitely doesn't seem to be in the range of the 75mm gun if the car is detected to be approaching that area. And there doesn't seem to be any Germans nearby, so I guess coast is clear. And finally the left tank moves very slowly up the hill there in order to face off against some of the... Oh yeah, there's a German guy trying to greet us. I think he's running toward the bridge or something to try to flank us from the rear, but they were detected by these guys trying to cross the river. But first things first, we need to get rid of that guy, or try to him back. And oh, we found another guy. Yeah, so they're moving, protecting their side of the river. So I think in terms of left group, their plan is not going to really pan out. by this point. Yeah, by turn 15 that is. So this time we bring at least a few elements from the bridge crew for the left side to help these guys at least, you know, set foot in the river and help with the bunker. But it's hard going, and especially when the tanks cannot cross the river, yeah, it's going to seriously hamper our efforts. So it's going to be just, you know, standing action kind of deal there, trying to stop the Germans from reaching this area, this main highway, heading to the defense near that bunker, the left side of the highway, and then also further up the road, further up the N13 here. Yeah, so yeah, scouting car is getting perilously close to where I suspect the bunker is, and it's going to be discovered more or less pretty soon if I'm not careful. Yeah, definitely in the shooting range, as you can see. Line of sight is definitely includes that. So I kind of wonder whether if I drive really fast, I'll be able to evade the tension of the bunker and able to escape that gun, 75mm gun that surely has the ability to destroy light armored car. Yeah, and then the tank, after letting off its passengers, is going straight toward that concrete bunker. I'm only with MG, so I feel I can withstand it. Yeah, this guy's trying to help. The group still trying to cross the river. And yeah, these guys are making a nice progress. Still sneaking though, not really moving. And thanks to... oh yeah, okay, so the concrete bunker has found its target, that poor scouting car, and here we are still trying to fight, able to drive one German out of the way and limit it to their side of the river. Unfortunately, this guy is being found, and we found that bunker. First shot fortunately misses. Is the scouting car be able to make most of the opportunity, or second chance, if you will? So he's trying to move really fast. I guess that's the fastest they can move, but it's not fast enough. And it's just a, yeah, really easy target. That's it for the scout car. Too bad. Maybe if it was off-road type of transmission, or instead of being tracked, if it was like wheeled vehicle, then it might have been faster. But yeah, too bad about the scouting, and I think I made another mistake. There are a lot of mistakes made in this battle to make it go fast toward the bunker instead of back away from the bunker. Still shooting a lot, adding to the fire to try to cross the river. And artillery is still hopeful that it's going to disrupt that concrete bunker, the MG bunker on the left side. But the German guy still remains. That's targeting us with machine gun. Back here. One of them has run away, but we need to access that area in order to reach and do something, you know, anything against the bunker that has to be crossed. And I feel that, yeah, I positioned the range of the bunker's line of sight, the line where I need to, you know, I had to cross in order to face that bunker, or the bunker is going to see us. I think it's going to need a coordinated attack on both sides of the highway, but whether I'll be able to do that successfully is, I don't know, it's not really hopeful, but it's anybody's question so far. Yeah, so the left side of the highway, still trying to battle these guys and get them out of the position. And more troops are congregating, and one unit decided to cross the river. They had, you know, enough, and the other guys on the back can support him with covering fire. And here the artillery, I think, sends its last rounds for the defensive area near the bunker. I think I saying bunker too many times, and this MG guy is still fighting. this Sherman is following up with its own strikes against the MG. And our own MG is moving up here to try to cover for that guy. Fumbling in the river, and it's really slow, the rate of crossing. And Sherman found his target. Yeah, finally. This guy is in trouble and surrenders. Yeah, finally surrenders. Only one person left in the unit. Can't really shoot or do anything. Although they can carry the machine gun. Okay, so the tank is able to identify and shoot a hopeful shot at the bunker, but it's not really seriously harmed. So the concrete bunker can definitely withstand a meager 75mm gun from the Sherman, which is a problem. Yeah, it's a big problem. It's a formidable defensive emplacement. It's good that there were so few units guarding that or supporting that area, because if there were more, then surely it would have been really difficult to get them all out or actually trying to do something against it. And now we are emboldened and trying to make more units cross the river. And here we found some German unit on the left side of the highway. And clearly it's been damaged by the previous artillery strike, so I guess it was not all for naught. Yeah, and trying to get at the bunker as soon as possible. And this guy is now trying to target that newly identified defensive guy. And as you can see by the black lines, I'm not really doing a good job of taking care of the commanding officers moving up with the group, so I really need to use the group move method, particularly in this battle, because I'm moving a lot of units, different units, and I forgot to try to use a bit more of a strategic approach. I tried to micromanage the whole thing many times, and although the result has been, I mean, it's not too bad. That guy is eliminated pretty quickly, so yeah, definitely been affected by the previous artillery barrage. But I mean, the artillery really couldn't do anything against the bunkers. It's just there. Even though I knew from the start where they were, they're not really that accurate. It was not successful. And I think it was, true for, even on D-Day too, like the naval guns for targeting these turrets and bunkers along the coastlines where they're supposed to be landing. And I think for hours they just heaped shells upon the areas, but was not able to cause much damage. And here's another guy caught off guard in the dark or something, just slowly crossing into the cover. And here I try something dastardly, using the POW to scout for us and to see if there's any enemy Germans. Yeah, so this is not going to really, it's not really, I don't think this is like part of a Geneva code or something, or convention, using the POW to spy for us. Yeah, so turn 18, only 3 turns left this battle. Yeah, still targeting some stragglers and also moving up on this side as well, now that we have a clear access to the bunker on the left along with the tank, so I feel really confident about the progress there. And we are crossing more units here along with the group from the bridge crew to fight these guys on the left side. And they throw something looks like a lunchbox, creates a huge explosion and eliminates the commanding officer, a platoon HQ or something, or company HQ for their side, which is a pretty big loss for them. I don't think they could even... Oh wow, okay, so they found that. Yeah, but then some of the German units were just caught off guard. I think they couldn't really see what is happening, or they were shell shocked or something, or routed themselves because of the artillery. Here is another group crossing. So the rally groups stay on this side of the river, providing support fire. Whereas some of these guys who have now been damaged once again by the German fire is trying to cross. Yeah, it's not really good for us getting damaged so quickly. But we are moving actually, and it's understandable that it makes them more vulnerable. And yeah, now finally, seems that POW has reverted to the German side once again because we sent them too far into the German area. So it's not POW anymore, we just sent them, just let him loose. I don't know what that does to the morale, but surely it's not going to help our morale. I try to like make it spy for us and then it just went to their side. Maybe with information that is going to compromise us or something. Yeah, so that was pretty interesting. So don't send your POWs away, like 100 meters away from you. Make him come to your side and he's going to stay. He's a POW, but if you send them the other way, he's going to reverse side and maybe even shoot at you. But in this case, the MG is kind of hamstrung by the fact that it has only one man in the crew. So some bazookas are moving into range. How close? I don't know exactly how close they have to be. But from around 150 meters, I think they'll be able to have a good shot at it, at least. I don't know how well the bazooka round is going to do when the tank shells cannot really penetrate the concrete. Yeah, but I'm willing to just try anything right now. Time is of the essence and I'm running out of time, running out of turns once again. Yeah, so all these guys are trying to take care of the stragglers and move toward that high ground. Hopefully we can make use of that in the next battle. Yeah, the concrete bunker, the 75mm gun bunker is actively targeting us. Those two units, one crew that has already been routed from the scouting car and the other guy who was basically disappeared into the crater. So not a really good area. Yeah, definitely going to be routed or panicked soon. And yeah, I don't know, saved up these borders for this this late into the battle, but here they are once again, damaging us left and right with this really powerful border strike once again. I think they're just letting it loose. They were setting up and they just want to punish us. Yeah, no, these guys are, that's the MG. I think it managed to survive till the end of the battle. And the bunker continues to rake us, and the bazookas are moving up. These two lone bazooka units. Pretty brave units to face up against such bunker and such force. Yeah. Oh, I hear some bazookas, I don't know what happened. So this commanding officer shooting at the German target, left side. Let's see what happens. One of them hits, no serious damage. This is cause for concern. No serious damage, no serious damage. A cause for concern once again. Yeah. A lot of doubt and a lot of anxiety now for the Americans as they try to I mean, if I had flamethrower, I could probably try it, especially on the bunker on the left. Could have been effective. Through the slit and then pour some flame into it. Tailor-made for the purpose, but unfortunately we don't have any flamethrowers. Yeah, here we're just fighting these guys out, duking it out. I think we are pretty set here and trying to just fight them to a standstill. Yeah, take comfort in the fact that we did manage to cross the river and ford the river, and make sure to note that tanks cannot ford a river unless there's one of those funnies that were able to wade through the shallow waters of Normandy, something, I don't know, the sea there, the Douve Sea. Yeah, so they're running to get into better position, but I don't know. I think I made another mistake yet again to send them closer to face up against the 75mm gun. Yeah, as you can see, he's right in their crosshairs. The cover really doesn't matter, the tall pine doesn't really matter. You can definitely see. It's unfortunate, but that's what's going to be in store for them in the next turn as well. Here we make, yeah, I mean, we're just fighting them where we find them. No serious damage once again. We need something special. Something special, tailor-made for this bunker busting. Yeah, they're basically unloading the bazooka rounds after round, but it's really, it's really undaunted. It's still like shooting NGs, like nothing matters. A lot of legs are being hurt. It's like causing a lot of worry here. Once again, shooting but falling short. Now the bazooka is not getting cold shoulder or something, or cold feet. Yeah, these guys now being whittled down to 1-man unit or 2-man units. And finally, on the launch box of Doom, there was a bomb that killed off the commanding officer. Also works against, apparently works against the bunker too, but it's not smoking, so it may have been, you know, kind of created cracks in the seam or something first with all that bazookas and tank shells, and finally was able to break it apart. Yeah, so bunker, as you can see from the smoke, that it was almost gone. Yeah, so has been another battle. We were able to not really achieve all that we planned out to do, or set out to do. Destroyed one bunker, but another bunker still remains pretty firm in their defenses. As you can see on the right side, okay, we see what happened on the right side after this. So 60 casualties, 16 KIA, a bit better result, I guess, but yeah, I mean, it's not to be too proud of, since I made a number of mistakes. You can count like 4 or 5 major ones that contributed to that injury figures. Yeah, we are starting up really close to the bunker though, so I hope to be able to deal with it. And there's Carentan! Yeah, so that is the town that we need to capture. Yeah, wow. So checking out the command briefing, we just, going it over once again to see what the mission was. And we need to capture St. Condemont, which we did, secure all bridges over Douve, and capture Carentan. So we just need to approach that town and occupy it. Yeah, as you can see, we captured a pretty good amount of territory to our side. And we can move up, and also there, I think, yeah, there's actually a reinforcement that raises our morale to 81%. They are all regulars, they're not veterans anymore, so yeah, we are kind of, we need to still take care of the veteran units and try to mix and match so that good balance can be achieved between the newly, freshly arrived troops and the veterans that have been fighting for a while and suffering some injuries. The German rockets have been very, very injurious. I need to find that artillery spotter and then eliminate it as quick as possible, but I think he's staying far back. And there's the railway, yeah, opening up on the way into Carentan, so this whole unit was able to travel there and then try to find out what is going on. It's a kind of roundabout way of entering into the town. It's kind of longer, but it could be due to the fact that it's more open space. And that's the area I think we need to defend after capturing the town. The railway could be another possibility, definitely, so I think that's where we're going to set another group to advance along that area to see if they can make and capture more territory if the main group comes against stiffer resistance. Alright, so that's been another battle, battle number 5. Hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, with battle number 6, whether we can reach Carentan, I'm not so sure, but we'll try. So until next time, please stay tuned.